Hello everyone, welcome to the second episode of the Spoken Greats podcast, where we're continuing in this series of applying the principles of Napoleon's maxims of war to modern warfare. Today I will be drinking a Pavillon Laterel Bordeaux Supérieur. It's one of the budget kind of low-end Bordeaux that you can get. It's a blend of primarily Merlot with a little bit of Cabernet Sauvignon and Cabernet Franc in it. It's been aged about 12 months before bottling, so there's a little bit of oak and tannin complexity to it. But please let me know what you're drinking in the comments as you join me on this session today. Cheers. Right, let's get started, shall we? Let's take a look at Maxim 23. When a commander occupies a position which the enemy threatens to envelop, he must quickly assemble his forces and threaten the enemy by an offensive movement. This will prevent the enemy from shifting troops to assail his flanks if he should decide to retreat. Now, this reminds me of something we were talking about in the previous episode, where through aggression of action and decisiveness, you can actually disrupt the enemy's movements. Quite a common tactic in defensive operations is to assign a disruptive force. So this force will be the one that establishes contact with the enemy before they reach your main force. And this is to slow their advance and cause as much havoc as possible within their forces before they are able to bring their main force onto you. So sort of following with that principle, he's saying here that if you apply maximum aggression to your action, you can kind of prevent this envelopment because the enemy's forced to react to your offensive, and so they don't have the opportunity to fully surround you. And again, it's that paradox of by being more aggressive and a bit more reckless, it's actually safer because you're taking the initiative away from the enemy, which then gives you more options to eventually retreat if you need to. 26. It is contrary to all true principles to make corps which have no communications with each other act separately against a central force whose communications are good. There's the old expression, no comms, no bombs. Communication is very important. And I was talking about this in the other episode about how a smaller force can defeat often a larger force when the larger force has a convoluted chain of command. Because if you have a great many units, but they're all kind of operating in silos independently of each other, then you actually kind of have a net negative. You don't have something which is greater than the sum of its parts. You kind of have a bunch of units just doing their own thing. And that's where you get, that's when you get chaos. If the infantry aren't supporting the armor, if air defense isn't protecting the overall force, if close air support isn't coordinating with ground forces, if all of these things aren't coordinated together, then you actually end up with a force which is significantly weaker than what you would expect given all the stats on paper. This is something that you can see in how the initial invasion of Ukraine occurred with the Russian armed forces, because on paper, arguably the world's second strongest military, very formidable. But however, when looking at their doctrine and how the Russians supposedly were going to fight in Ukraine, that's not really what happened. They weren't deploying in these battalion tactical groups where you had fighting forces mutually supported by firepower, armor, infantry, etc. Instead, what you found was a bunch of subunits, so like a platoon or company strength, kind of just doing their own random thing. They were literally just getting in vehicles and driving down the road into Ukraine as if they were going on holiday. And that's why the end result was the invasion was stalled, because so many of those troops were squandered in kind of probing attacks where they would send like a section strength or a platoon strength towards the front line instead of committing sufficient firepower to support those elements. And so there were so many wasted opportunities there where Russia did have the resources really to conduct such an operation, but they were not communicating properly with their forces. Which brings me on to my next point quite nicely. So this is Maxim 28. No detachment should be made on the eve of battle, because conditions may change during the night, either by the retreat of the enemy or by the arrival of strong reinforcements, which would enable him to take the offensive and render fatal your premature dispositions. So this is a very famous example in the Anglo-Zulu War in 1879, the Battle of Isandlwana. Lord Chelmsford, on discovering that there was a neighbouring Zulu force nearby, decided to split his force in two and pursue the enemy. And so he left a camp of about 1,800 troops behind, and this was the force that the Zulus went on to attack and completely massacre, and still is one of the most devastating defeats suffered by the British Army. And Lord Chelmsford here underestimated his enemy. He underestimated the effectiveness of the Zulu, and he didn't see a need to keep his forces joined up. And the result was total chaos. So this one is Maxim 29. When a commander intends to give battle, he should collect all his forces and overlook none. A battalion sometimes decides the day. So I think a key takeaway here is there is no such thing as overkill. If you are able to allocate some resources to your operation, do it. That additional unit or asset could be the deciding factor in the action. Increases your chances of success, and also it can have a very powerful psychological impact on the enemy. If you engage the enemy with overwhelming firepower, the chances of them surrendering or retreating increase with each increment of the odds that are stacked against them. And so it's worth considering employing that. It's a very controversial topic, but the dropping of the nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki arguably saved millions of lives from a ground war in mainland Japan during the Second World War. And that demonstration of total destructive power was certainly a deciding factor in the Japanese finally surrendering. So let's take a look at Maxim 40. Fortresses are useful in offensive as well as in defensive warfare. True, they will not in themselves arrest an enemy, but they are an excellent means by which to retard, embarrass, weaken, and annoy a victorious enemy. Fighting in urban areas is arguably the most difficult military operation that can be done, because it is so intensive in terms of the casualties that a force will take. Close air support is rendered pretty much useless. Same with artillery. Armor doesn't really have the space to maneuver. And so you're left with the infantry, who need to capture building by building, room by room, street by street, until the whole city has been cleared. And this is why you'll see many armies will actually circumvent urban areas in order to avoid being bogged down in that bloody fighting. So if you look at the early phases of the invasion of Ukraine, Russia made some pretty impressive advances into Ukraine, but they didn't manage to capture a single urban area. Now, this is because of the very nature of urban warfare is that it takes so long and so much resources to capture. And that's why cities like Chernihiv and Kharkiv were completely surrounded, but were never taken. The Russians just circumvented them and continued to advance. Even small towns like Mariupol took 2 months to take. Famously, there was Bakhmut, which fell after 9 months. You can look at other conflicts as well. This is not just exclusive to Russia or Ukraine. I mean, it took the Iraqi security forces the best part of 9 months to capture Mosul from Islamic State. And you see it with the US military in the Battle of Fallujah in the Iraq War. It took about a month to clear Fallujah of militants, and I believe it was the highest casualty rate of any part of the Iraq war for coalition forces. And obviously right now ongoing is the Israeli operation in Gaza, which is even more complicated because it's one of the world's most densely populated urban areas, and the denser the area, the harder it is to clear, and the more casualties it will exert on a force. And so the temptation to just circumvent cities is very strong, unless an actor is specifically committed to taking a city for its strategic aims. It will often avoid doing so. And it may just instead decide to surround the city and lay siege to it. But a siege can take a very long time. You look at the siege of Sarajevo, which took several years, famously the sieges of Stalingrad and Leningrad. In all these examples, the cities were able to hold out for an incredibly long time, and the attacker was not able to successfully take the ground, which just shows that fortifying a densely populated area is a very effective defensive tool. And even if the city eventually falls, you can exact quite a bloody cost on the attacker in exchange for them taking it. Napoleon knew this very well, which is why we're going to take a look at Maxim 46 here. The keys of a fortress are well worth the freedom of the garrison when it is resolved to not go out unless free. Hence, it is always more advantageous to grant honourable terms to a garrison that has made a determined resistance than to risk an assault. Absolutely. I've just drummed home the point of how costly it is to launch an assault on a settlement. So if you can negotiate some kind of settlement where the garrison will be allowed safe passage or whatever, you can negotiate some kind of terms where they will freely leave the space. You can save your troops to fight another day. And, some people might say like, oh, well, how can you let them go? That's just going to mean you'll have to fight them at another point. Well, perhaps, but maybe you won't be fighting them on such favourable terms for the defender at another point. So if fighting can be avoided, by all means avoid it. Let's take a look at 66. A good general, a good corps of officers, good organisation, good training, rigid discipline make good troops, independently of the cause for which they fight. Nevertheless, fanaticism, love of country, national glory may also inspire young troops to advantage. Absolutely. You could be the most skilled, fearsome warrior that the world has ever seen. and maybe you have the fighting capacity of 5 men. But if your superiors are incompetent and don't recognize talent, then there's a maximum impact that you can have. And this is a general observation on leadership. Leaders are not the ones who are the most skilled or the most knowledgeable. They're the ones who can recognize the talents of others and employ them in the best way possible. And so you can actually have much more effect at recognizing the talents of others and employing them in the best way possible than just being a good soldier. Because through being a good soldier, you are having the effect of one person. Whereas if you are a good leader, you can maximize the effects of thousands or even millions of soldiers. And so the effect is just totally disproportionate. And so this is why a good officer corps is important. Organization as well. So it's often said that infantry win battles, logistics win wars, and it is a very underrated part of war. Getting things to where they need to be at the right time and the right amount is a huge factor in war, especially when you're looking at large-scale industrial level warfare. Having a strong logistical chain is vital for sustaining a fight. With that said, you've got the morale component where it's quite intangible and difficult to give a mathematical formula to it. But if the soldiers are fighting on their home territory, or they believe deeply in the cause, that can have a much stronger influence on the outcome. I mean, if you look at the US military, you could say it has some very talented generals, a good officer corps, and its logistics are second to none, and training is very good as well. But they couldn't match the Taliban in terms of fanaticism or how strongly the Taliban felt for their cause. And so on a long enough time frame, if you're able to stay alive in the face of a superior fighting force, if your will is stronger and you still have the will to fight, then you will win eventually. Clausewitz talks about this in that a force has only won when the enemy has recognized that they have lost. When the enemy no longer desires to fight, that is when they have lost. And so you could observe that, this is pathetic. They have no territory. Why are they still fighting? But as long as they still continue to fight, they have skin in the game. They have not been beaten yet. And so if you play the long game long enough, you may in fact win against a superior military. So this is Maxim 57? No, what is it? Maxim 58. The first quality of the soldier is fortitude in enduring fatigue and privations. Valor is only the second. Poverty, privation, and misery are the school of the good soldier. You may wonder, why is Napoleon here saying that valor comes second, and actually being able to withstand these circumstances is more important? There's a concept known as the tail to teeth ratio. This is the proportion of fighting troops to supporting troops, which in most modern militaries is about 3-1. So this means for every infantry soldier you have with a rifle fighting with the enemy, there are 3 other people supporting that soldier. So that could be medics, engineers, artillery, intelligence, clerks, cooks, all these things which make it possible to put that soldier into the field. And of those combat forces, even then, a small percentage of those will ever actually engage with the enemy. But a universal to all soldiers is being exposed to the elements and the harsh environment that they're operating in. If it's extreme heat or extreme cold, having to burn their shit in a steel drum, trying to, even like the basic tasks of just basic hygiene, starts to take its toll on the human body. And then you've got sleep deprivation, and then boredom as well. A lot of the time in war, there's just a lot of waiting around. Nothing's going on, and then suddenly everything all happens at once. And so developing a resilient character is far more useful than valor. If you look at casualty figures, in almost every conflict, the vast majority of casualties are not combat related. And when I just say that for a second, you may be thinking, how is that even possible? Well, it turns out when you're living outside all the time and you're shitting in the woods, you can't wash yourself properly, you open yourself up to diseases. And this is what accounts for the majority of casualties. If you're exposed in the desert, you get dehydrated, you get extreme sunburn, you get insect bites, you even get food poisoning or whatever, you get frostbite in extreme cold, or trench foot when you've not been able to irrigate your trench properly in the pissing rain. And so all of these things are much more likely to kill you than enemy action itself. And so this is why the death rate was so much higher in previous wars. Often people would die of their wounds because they got infected, or just the drinking water they had available. They would violently shit themselves to death because there was no clean drinking water. And so if you can build disciplined troops who can maintain their hygiene, you can keep away pests, and can prevent preventable diseases from catching on, I would bet money on that force way more than the force with more valor. Because the force with more valor will not get a chance to demonstrate that valor, because they will have a terrible case of dysentery way before they manage to get the opportunity to engage with the enemy. So, Maxim 59, there are 5 things from which a soldier should never be separated: his musket, his cartridges, his knapsack, rations for at least 4 days, and his pioneer tool. Let the knapsack be reduced to the smallest size possible, if it be deemed necessary, but he should always have it with him. So, there's always a compromise in warfare between resilience and mobility. So, kit is heavy, and the more kit you carry with you, the more you're going to be weighed down. And when you come into contact with the enemy, that's going to hamper your movements. And even just on the march, you're going to be able to cover a lot less ground if you're carrying more stuff. On the other hand, if you carry the absolute bare minimum of kit, then that reduces your resilience to different scenarios. Like, for example, if you only carry 1 set of batteries for radio, a common expression in the military is 1 is none, 2 is 1. So if you have no spare batteries for your night vision goggles and the current battery you have runs out, you can no longer see in the dark. If you don't have spare batteries for your radio, then you may lose contact with another unit. And so each of these has different risks, which, depending on the circumstances, the soldiers need to consider in their own situation, about how much resilience do they need to build in versus how important is it for them to stay mobile. But interesting here that Napoleon mentions the pioneer tool, which is basically an entrenching tool, a spade for digging in. This is still very much an important part of infantry warfare, and many infantry schools continue to teach entrenching as part of infantry tactics. Many commentators thought that this was something that had disappeared, and it was from a bygone era where in World War I, everyone just fought in the trenches for 4 years. But the war in Ukraine has proved the utility of trenches again, despite all the advances in technology, in armor, in air support, artillery, in drones even. The trench still proves a very effective tool in holding ground. And so the ability to dig in at any point is a very useful quality for an infantry unit to have. And that's what makes the entrenching tool so powerful. So this is Maxim 61. Harangues at the beginning of the fight do not make soldiers brave. The old soldiers scarcely listen to them, and the recruits forget them at the first cannon shot. If discourse and argument are useful, it is to destroy innuendo and false rumour in the course of the campaign, to maintain good morale in camp, and to furnish material for conversation in bivouac. The printed order of the day should meet these needs. Absolutely. You see it all the time in Hollywood movies where the leader of an army will make some inspirational speech to his army before some epic charge. But when you think about it, in the space of several thousand men, other than the people in the front row, like maybe in the front 3 to 4 rows of 30 people, no one else is going to hear a single word he says, especially once rounds start firing. And so it's kind of a bit of grandstanding, and it looks good in films, but the practicality of it, of just like even having so many people be able to hear you, it just seems very impractical. And as Napoleon points out there, the soldier's mind at that point is on their own self-preservation. It's not on some great speech being made. And this is also an issue with giving out this advice to military commanders, because for every Churchill, you've got 400,000 underwhelming public speakers who should not be encouraged to give speeches, especially before a point where someone is about to potentially die. The last thing they hear should not be some rip-off speech because someone wanted their Hollywood moment. Right, I think we'll leave it there for today. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, please like and hit the subscribe button. Look forward to future episodes where I'll be breaking down the remaining maxims of war. See you soon.